Welcome to the Friends and Rivals podcast.
And they did. One of them tried to set up Casey, but the pass didn't get through. Casey was in a perfect spot for it, but the pass across the street got deflected.
Let's talk Devils and Islanders. Let's talk Penguins and Rangers. But let's not talk about Flyers, because they're a bunch of fucks, which no one can deny.
Episode 140 of the Friends and Rivals podcast coming at you live and hot. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Harkness. Joining me each week are...
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to say I'm part of this podcast. Am I allowed because of the whole scandal?
Yeah, it's not like everybody on the Devils did it.
Stephen Wojtowicz.
This is Bill Fougere, and I put one in my own net.
This is Nick Lurita from French Canada.
You motherfucker. You went the entire day without saying anything about that own goal. The entire day. I had to bring it up. Yes, I'm talking to you. I had to bring it up. And you didn't say shit when I posted that. You were like hiding from everybody.
I had stuff to do.
What?
I was going to have to talk about it on the podcast,
Don't tell me you had to work. Don't tell me you had to work. Because we all know that's fugazi.
It's the busiest week of the year. For real.
Is it? Why?
Really?
Because the year's numbers are all finished up, and we got to start paying people incentives payouts from last year. This is my busy week.
Yeah.
This is what we in the biz call our busy season.
Well, I up until today.
So it was fucking hilarious, though. Can we just let's not let this go, because it was fucking funny. He passes the puck back to Malkin, who should be
to a better guy.
One of the most shorthanded players, in the NHL, and just boop right into the net. But it's funny. I mean, it's not like they've been playing together a long time, right?
Actually, they've set a fucking record for North America for playing together, along with Sid. But there was a lack of chemistry for sure.
Yeah, just so sweet to see some team do that.
Who got credit for that goal?
Nobody. As far as I can tell, nobody got credit for it.
Somebody had to get credit for the goal, Bill.
Somebody
got credit.
I looked at the box score the next day, and I don't know if anybody on Arizona touched it. I think it was an immaculate goal. I think it was unfucked by an Arizona Coyote.
So you're saying they can't go prior face-off, right? So from the face-off, not one Coyotes player touched the puck up until the puck going in the net?
Unless they change anything. I looked like after the goal, and then I looked a day later, and there was nothing in the box score on the NHL app.
Goal, it was the 2-1 goal or the 3-1 goal?
It was Arizona's fourth goal.
Arizona's fourth goal was scored by Lawson Krause, and it is listed as a power play empty net goal, unassisted.
What number goal in the season was that for Mr. Krause?
18.
18 goals?
Yeah.
Wow.
So just going back here and looking at the power play stats, the Coyotes were 1 for 3 on the power play, 0 shots on net.
But it was a delayed. It wasn't a power play goal. It was a delayed call.
I thought they were
already
on
Penguins,
the power.
They were already on the power play.
Were they?
Okay.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not an even strength goal. So
no.
Yeah. Weird. That's a really weird one.
Yeah, Jansen Harkins was in the box for hooking.
NHL app. See this bullshit? Because the NHL app sucks.
Yeah,
but it's straight from goal number 3 to goal number 5. I don't know why I go on this fucking app.
So
they obviously should have given it to Malkin.
1 for 3 on the power play, 0 shots on the power play.
Sounds like the Penguins penalty kill was locked in the rest of the night.
When they weren't shooting on their own net, yeah.
All right. So up until this morning, the biggest news of the week certainly goes to Nick. And Nick, you have been waiting for this for the better part of this year. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, finally, after weeks of speculation and my hoping and praying to the gods, Wayne Lambert is no longer the coach of the New York Islanders.
I always thought he was a great coach for the Islanders.
Great coach for the Islanders.
Oh, I thought he was the best coach for the Islanders.
Well, Mr. Sleepy Lane Lambert, who always looks like he's perpetually unconfused while he's on the bench, was finally let go after a horrendous road trip and just numerous things, I think, outside of that have just kind of compounded over the last few months. Obviously, this is the second season as head coach, and this is a team that's expected to be a contender. The way it's comprised, all of these players are all, effectively same core that's been to the Eastern Conference Finals twice in consecutive years back. And so, obviously when you lose a Hall of Fame coach and you replace him with his protege or one of them, you figure that you might have a bit of a step back, but you expect him to be the guy that's going to, continually bring his team to the next level. He didn't do it.
I don't know how well those guys who kind of take over, who were part of the coaching staff when the coach gets fired, I don't know how well they fare. I would love to see a stat on that.
Yeah. But anyway, this was just kind of one of those things where I think now I forget which game it was. I want to say it was the Nashville game. I think I talked about it. I think it was the Nashville game 2 weeks ago now, where the team was down 2-1. It was a tie game, and then it was a 1-1 game. Matt Martin was on the ice, let up a puck, tried to carry it out with like 12 seconds left instead of dumping it, and it turned into a turnover. Nashville scored on a fluky shot. They pulled the goalie, get a quick empty netter, and then the bench was basically it was completely empty with like 5 or 6 seconds left, and Bo Horvath was the only guy on the bench. With the rest of the other skaters on the ice finishing the game out, it seemed like a perfect example of exactly what Lambert has been to this team. Just doesn't give a shit, has just zero respect for the game, and honestly, like I just don't understand from a leadership perspective how that would go with somebody like Lou and the rest of the brass. I mean, it was embarrassing to see them do that. That was the start of the 4-game road trip where they lost all 4 games. And I imagine that probably was the start of this, because there's no way Lou would fire Lambert without somebody in place. I think that was the idea. And I think the rest of the road trip just became a formality. As this week, I'll get into that later, but it wasn't until I think it was, when was he fired? Was it after the loss? Yeah, it was after the loss to the Blackhawks. I think it was the day after. So I believe that he was fired that day on the Saturday, and if I remember correctly, and Wild came in that Saturday morning because they ended up playing first game as coach with Dallas the next day at home. So I believe that was how the timeline went. But either way,
those dates are correct.
Yeah, so it was a very quick turnaround, but the way he was just kind of like, all right, Lambert's out, Waz in. This had been percolating for a couple, probably for a couple weeks or a couple days, however long they've been figuring it out. So, net is that it's a gain. I think Waz the right kind of coach. I'll talk about it later, but he's basically the opposite kind of guy of Lambert. Very vocal on the bench. He's been with the junior playing, coaching the juniors now for the last few years, and apparently has really impressed people with his ability to, to coach young kids. And introducing structure and, really making junior team into more of a pro style, hockey club. And I think that's exactly what this team needs. They got all the veterans, they got all the players, and when Pulak comes back and is healthy, and the defensive corps are finally all healthy, we should start to really see some improvements. Because honestly, they just need the motivation and get out of the malaise that Lambert put them in. An unstructured defense, unstructured everything, to be honest. We've seen, and I'll talk about it and I don't want to steal my whole segment later on. So I'll say it's been positive in the 2 games, and now 5 days into the season he's been here. So really quick, but we've seen some drastic changes already. So so far that's the news.
In other news, and like Nick mentioned, we will get to a little bit more of that when we get to the Ride Metro section, but let's take a ride around the NHL. So big news today, coming out of London, Ontario, that 5 members of the 2018 World Junior Hockey Championship team have been told to surrender to London, Ontario police. In regards to a sexual assault case that was settled last year or a year prior to that, where the victim received an amount of money, but now it looks like is it just a cover?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're saying was after the settlement, there was uproar, rightfully so, that there was an investigation by the police. There was an investigation by Hockey Canada. And it didn't result in any sort of names.
But even though she settled, they can still pursue
absolutely
jail time for these people.
It's totally independent of one another.
Yep, still a criminal act.
No, I do agree with you on that. So the victim had attended a gala in recognition of the Team Canada's 2018 World Junior Championship. Has anybody ever been to a gala? I've never been to a gala.
I've been to a gala.
Shut up.
Yeah.
You've been to a gala?
I've been to a gala. I went to a gala with our friend Edward Alts. There was a
what is EA doing at a gala?
There was a Devils gala for season ticket holders, and all the players were there, and food and wine were served, and other beverages. It was a grand old time.
What makes it a gala?
The name of the event had gala in it.
Is that when you guys met Taylor Hall?
Yes.
I remember that.
It was also the night where, as we were walking behind Andy Green, I tapped Andy Green on the shoulder and then started to walk away so that he would turn around while Eddie was walking by. And Andy Green was none too thrilled with that joke.
Are you kidding me? It's hilarious.
He did not laugh at all.
Oh my God. What a stuffed shirt.
Yeah, I'm glad he was an Islander.
Well, anyway, she attended the gala and brought back a member of that team for consensual sexual activity. And then other players apparently came into the room, and then it turned very, very ugly. Very, very ugly. And this is all 5 of the players. I mean, we're speculating here about the players who have turned themselves in. We imagine them to be Dubé, Carter Hart. Both of them have requested leave of absences from their teams. Another player by the name of Alex Formenton, who was playing in the Swedish Elite League, and now 2 New Jersey Devil players, Michael McLeod and Cal Foote, are supposedly the 5 players who were asked to turn themselves into the London, Ontario. Now, Steve, you've alluded to Michael McLeod being part of this for since it was brought up.
That was the worst kept secret. Yeah. It seemed like anybody whose reply to questions were, I'm completely cooperating with the investigation, are the guys that are, going to be surrendering themselves. Anybody whose response was, I wasn't there, I didn't do anything, I didn't know about it, those are the guys that are not surrendering. So
yeah, there was a global report that mentioned there was more than just the 5 players who were in the room. She had claimed that there was upwards
I
of
heard
8 players,
right? 8 players,
8 players
yeah.
in the room. So anybody who had any idea that this was going on should have a lifetime ban from hockey.
From the top down too, not just players, coaches, anybody involved with Hockey Canada that knew this was going on, that kind of helped the cover up take place. They should all be held
Well, don't
liable.
you think that the coaches would? I do agree with that, and I'm not saying that the coaches are exonerated from all this or they're innocent at all. But this was after the tournament was over, and this was an event celebrating their championship.
They were. So don't you think the coaches were at the gala?
100%. However, they weren't back at the hotel. Maybe probably not back at the hotel room where this was happening, or they had a better floor. Who the hell knows? Who knows?
I'm sure amongst that group, stories got spread.
Yeah.
So these
I
guys
don't disagree with that.
Guys definitely knew and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and this all goes back to the Penn State stuff. This all goes back to
Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks. This is not
the
a
trainer
new thing
on the
when
gymnastics
it comes to sports.
for the USA gymnastics team.
Yeah. So they're all the clubs and the NHL are mum's the word right now. I believe London, Ontario Police Department will have a press conference on February 5th. So we'll know more then.
Now here's my problem.
It's all speculation.
Here's my problem. Investigation or not, arrest or not, if the New Jersey Devils knew he was a focus of the investigation and offered him a 1-year contract, I'm not on board with that. I don't like that one bit. Now, innocent until proven guilty, absolutely. But this is what, 6 years ago. It's pretty good bet that they got it right within the last 6 years that if his name is being thrown around, he's one of the guilty parties.
Yeah, the same could be said about the Calgary Flames with Dubé and with the Flyers with
Absolutely.
Carter Hart.
Oh, absolutely.
With all of those teams,
they're all being they should all be held accountable.
Right.
So the irony is,
are you talking like losing draft picks, or what are you talking about? How do you hold them accountable?
I'm saying in terms of public scrutiny. Like, I don't think there's anything you can do to the team to levy any sort of penalty.
You want us to hate the Devils or the Flyers more?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, I could try.
Fuck the Flyers, by the way.
Fuck the Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers.
For a whole new reason.
Fuck the Flyers.
It's just funny that in one day in Devil's Land, everything is all puppy dogs and ice cream and rainbows and flowers, with Fitzgerald getting an extension. And the next day, this shit hits the fan. And here's Fitzgerald, who signed this guy to a 1-year deal during the offseason. Everybody's celebrating him. But if he knew and still gave this guy a 1-year contract, that's a problem.
They had ice cream? Fucking call me.
No, the puppy dogs had ice cream.
Oh.
Bill, it was at the gala. You missed out, apparently.
They don't serve ice cream at a gala. They serve sorbet.
Oh. Well, I do like sorbet. I do like a nice strawberry sorbet. Holy hell. Anyway, we're getting off the topic here. But the NHL also tried to throw a little smokescreen.
Oh God.
On all of this, which I thought was probably the most hilarious. Let's see. Let's find the least exciting thing we can announce today. What do we got? Stadium Series jerseys. No, we can't do that. Not today. Okay, we could say the Utah has filed papers for an expansion team. Yeah, do that. Do that.
On Friday in the political world, Friday is called Take Out the Trash Day, or it used to be called Take Out the Trash Day, because the stories that were given out on Friday wouldn't be reported until the Saturday newspaper, and nobody reads the Saturday newspaper. This is the equivalent to that.
This was like, and I made the joke earlier, but this was like throwing a glass of water on a gas fire.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you trying to do with this announcement of Utah, filing papers for an expansion team? Great. We're so happy for them. Now, back to the real news. I mean, that was literally the reporting all day long. So this is definitely, a black eye on the NHL, on international hockey, and hockey as a sport in general.
And, Utah.
Oh, well, I don't think Utah has
any.
No,
they're fucking guilt by association, man. They're roped into it as well.
Oh, that you mean their team name would? Never mind. We'll talk about their team name another day.
Yeah, good call.
Oh, please. Top 5 potential team names in Utah. Oh, that's gonna be good. Top 5.
Great. I like that one.
But this is just a black eye for the entire sport of hockey. And I mean, with the All-Star game coming up, it was supposed to be, grand weekend for everybody to get together for who knows fucking what, because the All-Star games are terrible. But it was supposed to be next week. It was a week to celebrate the sport, and I think that luster's gone. I don't think this is.
Oh no! I mean, this is going to be.
Can't go in there and celebrate the sport after this news comes down.
This is going to be topic 1, 2, and 3 at every press conference that gets held over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, and none of these guys, even the guys who weren't part of this and who were part of that 2018 championship team, who absolutely did nothing wrong and had no knowledge about anything, it's a black eye on them too.
Yeah.
So this is a really, really upsetting day for hockey in general. So on February 5th, when we have more news to report, we will report news. But up until then, everybody's going to have their own opinions, and you're all going to read them on the Twix. You're going to read them on the Facebook. You're going to read them on Instagram. You're going to read them everywhere. And it's all speculation until that news conference happens on the 5th.
So back to our regularly scheduled program. Let me just check Twix real quick here. Yep, still no Stadium Series jersey announcement.
Never will be. They're just going to cancel the Stadium Series altogether.
No, they're not going to do that. They're not
Saturday.
You're thinking Saturday's the day?
Is going to be the expected announcement. Yes.
Well, ESPN
release.
ESPN has the Rangers Golden Knights at 7:00 on Friday night. I kind of had that circled as to maybe they were going to launch it during the first intermission or something like that.
National, that's a national
it's
game.
A national ESPN game.
MSG locally at all? Okay.
It's a national ESPN game. So I thought maybe that's where they would do it.
Maybe just the Rangers Islanders jersey that night, and then the Rangers, the Rangers Islanders that night, and Devils Flyers the next day.
I was looking at the China websites for inexpensive hockey jerseys. Chinese, what's the difference?
Oriental. Just call them Oriental.
No, that's what you call the rug.
And I saw, so Bill, you have your PJ stock jersey. This is going to be an inside discussion, not meant for our listeners at all. So Bill, you have your PJ stock Hartford Wolfpack jersey, right? So it's that jersey with the Rangers patch on their shoulders they had from the reverse retro jersey last year. That's the one that one of the sites had up as the Stadium Series jersey.
And what's on the front?
It's the patch.
The Hartford Wolfpack logo?
It's not the Hartford Wolfpack logo. It's the Rangers logo patch that they had last year on the shoulders, which is kind of like italicized. It's their logo now, but just picture it italicized, and that's exactly what you're going to see. The entire logo, not just the letters either.
What white was it? A white or blue?
It was a white based jersey. Yeah. I may still
right,
have. I
because
might
technically they're the road team, right?
They would be the road team. Maybe I still have it open. I don't
Can't
think
wait.
so. Nope, I don't have that.
Did you dare check the other team's product offering to see Devils, Islanders, or Flyers? No, why would you do
No.
show prep?
Why the fuck
That
would I
just be
do that?
silly. Yeah,
Why
good
would I
call.
look at any other team's jerseys other than my own?
Good call.
I was actually looking to buy an Adam Fox jersey, but I decided against it.
Good. You should do that because then he'll get injured.
He got
Oh,
injured
wait.
already. So I think
That's
we're in the
just-
clear.
That's
I think we're in the clear.
There you go.
Yeah. I thought if a player was retired, the jinx wouldn't apply, and it didn't work out that well for Gary Carter. So
Oh man. How long after?
I think within a year,
Oh,
maybe 2, but definitely less than 2.
good Lord in heaven. Good God. And congratulations
Thank
to
you.
Vincent Trocheck, who will replace Artemi Panarin on the All-Star team. Very
Hey.
well deserved for him.
Do you know who's going to replace Jack Hughes?
No.
Nobody, because apparently he's going, even though he hasn't played for the Devils since like January 5th.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Like Lindy went on record saying he's not going to resume skating until after the All-Star break. He's going to the All-Star game?
He's going to the All-Star game, and at a minimum, he's going to be serving as the assistant captain on the team that Quinn Hughes is captaining, right? Quinn Hughes was picked as one of the 4 captains.
Right. I thought they were co-captains. Because the other ones are captains and assistant captains. I thought these guys were co-captains.
They're just throwing Jack a bone here on that, I think. I think they're just throwing him a bone to get him there, to give him something to do. If he participates in the skills competition, there is going to be an outbreak on Devil's Twitter, Devil's Twix that we haven't seen yet.
Well, I think it's across. I don't think it's just Devil's Twitter. I think it's across the board. And a guy and people, fake injuries to get out of going to the All-Star game.
Yeah,
they fake. Look at Ovechkin the past couple of years. He's faked injuries to not have to go, and this guy is going to go, and he's injured. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Wow. I did not know that.
Jack makes his own rules, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Anything else around the NHL that I missed?
No.
This past week?
Nope, let's move on. Type 45.
You guys are very, very insistent on this Type 45 tonight.
Move on.
You got something to do?
Our
listeners
tonight? Are begging for it.
They are not. They already had one. They had
Both of them have reached out to me.
What? Show me. Show me.
I'll show you tomorrow. I'll show you a screen cap.
Yeah, please do that. All right, let's take a ride in the Metro. Sponsored by Rich Wholesome Nestle Quick.
Hello, boys and girls. Do you hate the taste of regular milk and need energy? Try Nestle Quick. One sip and you can feel the energy in your muscles. Nestle Quick, now available in chocolate and strawberry.
They say the real men drink pink. Then I'm a real man for sure. But if you like the brown, I still love you for who you are. Because it's time for acceptance of everyone, all preference. We're all quick on the inside anyway. Nestle Quick, it does the trick.
Billy? Yeah, I fully anticipated that I was going first this week. I was like, I don't even have to look. I'm going first.
Oh no.
Oh
no.
No.
Yeah, the Penguins.
No.
Penguins only had 2 games. They lost them both, and really this week was the difference. I think between anybody have any sane person having any optimism left it's done. Like 1 week ago, they were coming off their best game of the season. I thought, said it on this podcast. They played a great game with against the Kraken, won that game 3-0 last Monday. But then they went on the road to Vegas and Arizona, and it's 2 games that they lost. Should it be the end of the world? No, but the thing of it is so emblematic of the struggles that the Penguins have had. Even going back to last season, because they went to Vegas, they were playing a good game. They had a 2-0 lead. They went into the third period and they lost. They didn't come away with a point. They straight up gave up 3 goals and lost that game after a 2-0 lead. And that's something that they were doing all season last season. And not as much this season, although, even opening night, they did it this season and it's happened, it's bit them in the ass a couple of times, but, probably not as often as it did last year. But then they follow that up to go to Arizona and what we talked about before, the own goal, where, Letang isn't using his head and Malkin, Malkin's got to fucking do a little bit more to make that adjustment to stop that puck from, stop it from deflecting it into his own net. So it's really very much on the both of them. And that is really kind of, that's been the season almost in a nutshell.
No, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell! How did I get into this nutshell? Look at the size of this bloody great big nutshell. What sort of shell has a nut like this? I mean, it's just crazy.
I mean, it's kind of like the butt fumble where it's like the culmination of all the shitty things that happen where it's going to be like that high profile thing. But it has been a mistake ridden season for the Penguins. And it's, you look up and down the lineup, guys aren't playing bad, but too many, brain farts, too many mistakes. And yeah, they're only going to have this one own goal to look back on and to be like that symbolic end of it all. But yeah, it's been a lot of mistakes. And personally, I had no optimism for this team, pretty much once they went into that 13 games without a power play goal. Like I knew it was over for them. So if they kind of got back towards the playoffs and the standings, I still had no optimism. Even coming off of that game last week against the Kraken, it's not like I was thinking they were going to hunt down a playoff spot. But again, like after this week, I think there are no sane people left who are going to have any belief in this team. And it's kind of a good thing because that frees up Dubas to make the deals he's got to make. They're not going to get a deal done with Gensel. So Gensel, they're just going to have to turn him loose and see what they can get for him, and see what other guys they can deal because this isn't a playoff team. We knew they weren't a literal Stanley Cup contender, but now we know this is not a playoff team. So let's make things better for the future. And all bets are off now. So it was almost freeing this week for them to turn that corner to like I said a few weeks ago, they're irrelevant now. It's been absolutely proven. There's no need to discuss. Oh, can they climb up to the top 8? That's over. That kind of talk is nonsense. So that is the week for the Penguins.
All right, so we'll turn to the Rangers, and before we do that, I have an absolute gem of a call from Sam Rosen. So this was during the Ducks game. I think I have the volume. All right, and here we go. The Rangers are up 1-0 toward the end of the first period. All you need to do is listen.
Now what I'm thinking, Joe, is the Rangers have to avoid that mistake, that big mistake that winds up in their net.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean,
Here's Terry moving in. Gets it back. Shot blocked. And Henrik stuffed it in. Now what I'm...
Right on fucking cue. Literally within 10 seconds of Sam Rosen saying that, Adam Henrique, Anaheim was up 1-0. Adam Henrique gets his second goal of the game to put the Ducks up 2-0.
And this is why play-by-play commentary should be played on the benches so that the players can hear it, so that they won't make those kinds of mistakes.
But then the players on the ice would have to hear it.
They should have earpieces in.
That is the most asinine thing I think you've ever said in this entire podcast. Congratulations.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that was really dumb.
I totally don't believe that. But
it was supposed to be dumb, you fucking idiot.
That was.
It was
really,
supposed to be dumb. Did you think I was being serious?
Really, really stupid. Yeesh.
Yeah.
Oof.
Holy shit.
My God.
Trying to lighten up the fucking mood around here. You guys are all fucking serious and depressed and
Well, you know why we're depressed, and I'm gonna start to tell you why I'm depressed. Okay, 5-1 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights on Thursday. 2-1 loss to the LA Kings on Saturday night, in which I had to fucking endure a 10:30 start, West Coast time or East Coast time rather. West Coast would have been funny. Have a back-to-back and beat the Ducks 5-2 when you were down 2-0 at the end of one. And luckily you scored 4 goals in the third period, and then you lose while you're up 2-0 headed into the third period. You lose 3-2 to the fucking Sharks. You lose 3-2 to the Sharks. So going back to January 11th, which was a game in St. Louis against the Blues, the Rangers go on a 15-day stretch where they play 8 times. I don't remember a stretch where they had to play so many games in so little amount of time. I think it was in the COVID shortened season where they were playing all local teams anyway. So they played, I think, in 8 and 15, but 8 games in 15 nights is a lot of games for any one team to play. That's not the excuse. They should be fucking well rested. They had 2 back-to-backs during that time, so they should have been well rested and very prepared to go out and play hockey. They're not. They have not been. They have a mediocre power play at best. They have players going through slumps on every single line, up and down the lineup, and on defense, and even in goal. And I think the shiny, nice little light that was on Peter Laviolette is gone. Is all gone. Because he has got to take hold of this team. He's the head coach of this team, and he has really got to make them play the way he wants to. And if they're not playing the way he wants to, it's on him. If they're not fired up and ready for a game, if they're going through the game fucking like they're sleepwalking like they did on Tuesday night in San Jose, then it's on him. And it's just so frustrating to watch this team. All the shiny stuff that we saw in the beginning of the season, all that, it's all gone. All the good vibes that we had coming off the win against the Caps and then Seattle before you left for the road trip, they're all gone. Things have got to change. The power play is extremely stagnant. You got to mix up personnel. If Zibanejad is going through a slump and he's not going to be the guy on the power play, put someone else out there who's going to do something. Make some changes. Do something to your lineup that invokes energy, because there's nothing there. It's just very lackadaisical.
It's funny you should mention that. They change lines at will to try and get chemistry, right?
Yeah, last year.
But when a power play isn't working, they don't change anything.
Well, for the better part of this year, the lineup has remained intact, especially since Hedel went down with his injury. Players here and there get called up because guys can't go one night, sure. And Kakko was out for a long time. But for the main part of the season, lines have been the same. No changes at all. And I mean, you need a little bit of change. Put Zibanejad with Panarin to get him going a little bit. Even put Trocheck with Kreider to get that line going. Do something. But you're right. They have not touched the power play all season, and it just does the same goddamn things over and over again, and everybody's ready for it. Everybody knows exactly what's coming.
Again, I've said it before. If you and I know what's going to happen, then the other team for sure knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, but the game last night pissed me off more than anything else, and it's not because they were up 2-0 going into the third period. It's not because the ref missed not one, not two, but 3 picks in overtime. And it has nothing to do with any of that. They sleptwalked through the entire game. This is the San Jose Sharks. You are one of the top 5 teams in the NHL. You need to assert your fucking dominance against a team that played the night before and went to overtime, went to a shootout, and beat the Kings. And you're fucking sleepwalking through a game in which they played and had to travel the night before. That's, to me, that's kind of on the coach a little bit. I'm sure you can say it's the players. I'm sure, but the coach has got to get them fired up to play. I don't
think I've ever seen a player on a shift intentionally go to interfere with the person defending the puck carrier 3 times.
Not once, twice, 3 times.
And not get called for it.
It was
so blatant. He didn't hide it at all.
Nope. So after that happened, so Zibanejad on the 3rd pick lost his stick, completely left everybody, and went to go pick up his stick. I think his stick was like just on the edge of the ice over by like the blue line. So he skated up to get his stick and just let his player go. Lafreniere was with the guy with the puck or without the puck, and Miller was on the guy with the puck, and Lafreniere just left the guy and went to double team the guy with the puck, which left 2 guys open on Shesterkin.
Yeah.
It was a comedy of errors and bullshit on that overtime goal that was enough to just, I was in a bad mood all day today. And it was directly because of that.
So for sure,
their lackadaisicalness through that fucking entire game last night.
If you haven't seen the video of that goal yet, we highly recommend you go watch it, and in your mind, just imagine the Benny Hill music as you're watching it.
It was this break, this All-Star break cannot come soon enough for this Rangers team. They got to play a Golden Knights team on Friday night who is still missing 9 starting players, and you get blown out 5-1. You get blown out by them.
I don't remember them missing 9 players
against your fucking backup, not even a backup goalie, the 3rd string goalie who you made look like fucking Ken Dryden. And then they go up to Ottawa, and the last time they were in Ottawa, they got their dicks handed to them. So listen, I'm not very optimistic about these games coming up on Friday and Saturday. All I know is that they can't end quick enough for the All-Star break to start, so they can just do what they need to do to refocus themselves and get back to playing hockey. Because when you come back and play hockey, you got a lot of home games. You got a lot of games to play up until the end of the season to establish your position for the playoffs. And right now they're in 1st place in the Metro, but that's going away very quick. And you're going to get taken over by the fucking Flyers? You're going to get taken over by the fucking Flyers? Fuck the Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers, man.
But Philip Hedl has come back to the U.S. He's in New York. I have kind of expect him to be at practice tomorrow to get a couple of skates in prior to the All-Star break. And then maybe see how it goes after that to give him a little bit of a break. But I fully expect him to be at practice tomorrow and potentially for a morning skate on Saturday in Ottawa. Maybe they don't let him travel with the team. I'm not sure, but but it looks like he's okay to go. So we'll see what happens with Philip Hedl. But I don't know. There's a part of me that also says, why don't you wait till after the All-Star break to let him start skating? So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Whoever's I think it's Nick's turn. Go ahead, Nick.
It's my turn. So Isles week, biggest news story obviously was Patrick Waugh, assuming the head coaching position after Lane Lambert was fired. And we kind of talked about that a little bit, being the podcast. And so this week was kind of the end of the road trip where the fourth we lost over time against the Blackhawks, where Seth Jones scored his first. Should have been Seth Green, I guess. It'd been the same thing. Seth Jones scores first goal of the year against us in overtime on a slap shot that just kind of found. Two aisles were kind of crossing.
Wait. Did you say it was Seth? I was about to say Seth Green. It was Seth Jones's first goal of the season.
On a slap shot
like
that was
$9 million a year.
Dude, it was a shot that Sorokin just got blinded on because basically he never saw it and it just went right in top short, corner. But honestly, it wasn't much of a shot. It just he was completely blinded by the guy blocking the view, covering Jones, and I forget who was playing defense, but I think it was it might have been Pellick or somebody was in front of him, just tried to block it and didn't block it and completely screen him. So that was the last game of Lambert's career as an Islander coach and maybe as head coach ever again in the NHL. Hopefully for whoever doesn't sign him will be much better off. With the next day, we get the Waugh signing. He gets to talk and work with the team briefly. Has the first practice the day of the game on Sunday against Dallas. The Isles end up winning the game in overtime, giving Waugh his first win as an Islander coach, which is great. Anders Lee went and grabbed the puck at the end of the game in overtime to bring it back to the locker room, the usual stuff. Waugh just with the big takeaways from the game, aside from the fact that the Devils or the Isles shouldn't have probably won this game. They kind of like just, came back behind, down a goal in third, and tied it up, got into overtime, just happened to manage to win that game. Barzal Horvat goal. But anyway, the whole thing was, it was interesting to hear a couple things. One, during the game, one of the beat writers was saying that he could hear Waugh from the ice from where he was up in the top of where they sit up top. And they were saying, I think other people in the 300s were also saying that, so the upper deck, saying the same thing. They could hear him screaming, things out from the bench. And it wasn't a full night; it was pretty quiet. But you know what? It's still, that's a drastic difference from Lambert, who never talked. You didn't see him saying much. He definitely relied more on his assistant coaches, and looked like he was complaining or confused all the time. Just his face. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it the other way. He just looked like he was never aware of what was going on. So huge difference. And then after the game, Waugh was like, blah blah, but about his win, it wasn't downplayed it, but really he did say that what was interesting was that the team, some of the things he had asked them to start to work on, the team had started to he saw some of those things in the game, which was impressive because they'd only just fucking had the first practice the day like that morning. So, and then 2 days later, another game, the second game or last game of the week, which was yesterday's game against Vegas at home. This was a 3-2 loss, but the game was a very different game for the Isles. In the game, so for instance, in the game against Dallas, it was a typical kind of Isles game, outshot tremendously, 43 shots to the 28. You can't win games like that. And that's what Rosman was talking about. Like, hey, we have to get less shots on net. We got to get play a more structured defense, get back to the intensity. You can't be chasing the puck in your zone the whole time. You got to get it in their zone. If you don't want to play defense, you got to, get the puck in. You can't, get better by playing defense all the time. So I guess the Golden Knights, who have been one of the better teams in the NHL this year, currently they are second in the Pacific with 62 points, pretty good. They outshot the Golden Knights, 42-27. And I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised by this because it's just we haven't really done this much this season. I didn't go back and look at all the games that where we had more shots than their team, let alone hit 40 shots in a game and held the other team to under 30, which has been not really the way Lambert's been kind of coaching us. And if you watch the Islanders games, we let up a ton of shots. So this was a much different game, and a game that was a close game. Isles were down, some unlucky bounces, and we're down a normal hockey game kind of thing, just down a goal at the end in third period. Couldn't tie it back up, but damn, they looked a lot better in this game. Even though they lost, they looked a lot better, and the team looked like really kind of give you a glimpse of what they should be and what they can be in the next maybe few weeks. We'll see how it turns out. But while I was saying even after this game that, this was a much better game. You saw a lot more of what the team's been buying into and starting to really work on. And, it's different when, a team's trying to buy into something right away and you see instant results. And so that seems like I'm hoping that in a couple of weeks we can have, this team starts to hopefully start to gel and get really behind what Waz really been preaching. And lastly, interestingly, Barzal was saying, to one of the beat writers that there was like a certain malaise or laziness had crept into a lot of aspects of the game. And that's an interesting kind of way he put it because, I kind of get the feeling that the players were kind of also feeling a little, unsure of how to talk to the media about you can't really throw your coach on the bus really, right? So it got the feeling that the team had really kind of figured out we're just seeing that nothing was getting better and maybe they felt like they just weren't being heard. And I'm just glad to see that they had such a positive kind of turnaround so far to Wah and his game plan for the Isles, and we'll see how it turns out, right? Anytime you bring in a coach like Wah, who's more structured, more disciplined, and definitely more vocal, he's definitely it's gonna probably have an impact for a bit, and we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it keeps going.
That age-old adage: when you replace a coach, you replace him with the opposite kind of coach.
Right. And this is the kick in the ass kind of coach. So
yeah,
this is what they need. And Barry was kind of that guy before. He definitely had he was more, definitely had I think more lightheartedness, but man, he was definitely hard on the team. He definitely was you make a mistake, you're fucking sitting.
Yeah.
And you gotta, he held a bit accountable. So, I mean, that's kind of where they are now. And, we'll see how this builds, but, it seems like, getting a goalie coach in a coach that was used to be a goalie, I should say, should be pretty good news for Varlamov and for who was his goalie in the Colorado, by the way. And Sorokin Sorokin because I'm sure neither of those guys like seeing 40 shots a game.
No, yeah.
And I'm sure they're probably going to be much happier with the team and how they're working out. By the way, Varlamov's first game back was in the Vegas game. He's back after he's been on the IR for roughly a month, I guess, at this point. So finally, that's Varlamov's back. We're just waiting now on Pulak to really get back into the team, get back to skating, and get back to practicing. And I can't recall if he's been back on the practice squad. But anyway, once he gets back, we'll really be in a position of finally having everybody back a full team, full squad, and see how it goes, see what happens. So right now, this is actually the first time I feel pretty good about the team in a while, because it's just been fucking hard to watch the team just play. And the I think the best thing I think I heard Wass say was he wants the team to be a team you want to watch. You want your fans to want to watch the game, and be excited to watch them play. And I really do. I want to have a fun time watching the game because it's been rough watching them play the last year and a half.
So it's funny you mentioned accountability because the first game of the recap here, Devils versus Montreal, 3-2 loss. Alexander Holtz, even though he scored during the game, only got about 8 minutes of ice time. He was benched for a majority of the third, being held accountable for a turnover he made in the defensive zone. When asked after the game, why did Holtz not play a lot? Lindy Ruff's response was to the reporter, "You don't really watch the games, do you?" Which was a ridiculous answer. I just hate when coaches are douchebags like that. Having seen the replay, it was an innocent puck around the boards, and he tipped the puck to the defenseman towards the center of the ice, and the defenseman misplayed the puck, thus resulting in a turnover. It wasn't anything Holtz did. Now, Holtz is top 5 in the team in goals. Even though he's only getting fourth line minutes, he's one of the top players in the NHL in terms of goal production when teams are 5-on-5. He's up there with Draisaitl and Nylander and Elias Pettersson in terms of goals while 5-on-5. So this kid needs to play more. You gotta give him a little bit of leeway. You gotta know he's gonna make mistakes. Hughes makes mistakes on defense. Jack makes mistakes when he's playing defense. Nemec plays mistakes. These are young kids. They're going to make mistakes. You got to just pat them on the back, say, don't fucking do that again, and get them out there for their next shift. That loss was followed up by a 4-1 victory over Columbus, carried by a huge second period, a huge outburst. It was their 15th come-from-behind win, and it was nice to see the good Vitek in net, which would be great if he could do that for the rest of the year. But he's so up and down, it's hard to be happy with him one game just because it's not going to last to the next. The next night they followed that up, back-to-back games. We know how bad they are in back-to-back games. Now they're 1-8-1 in the second half of back-to-backs this season. If they were even 50%, they would be in solidly in the playoffs. But 1-8-1 in the second half of back-to-backs. Sergei Brylin night, and I guess the team just thought that would carry them to victory, and it didn't. We were done in by facing a former Devils goalie in Scott Wedgwood, and he played well in the first period, and that must have gotten in their heads because they weren't able to put it together the rest of the game. I had this down as, you just write this one off. How you have those games sometimes you just write them off? But how many of those do you get in a season? How many times can you say that? Right?
1 or
5?
2. 1 or 2.
Yeah. Well, we're well beyond that. But I'm writing this one off anyway. Finished the week up with a 6-5 victory over the Vegas Golden Knights.
Beer league game.
Stop me if you've heard this before. The Devils gave up the first goal of the game.
Shut up.
31 out of 44 games, they've given up the first goal. So this was also their 16th come-from-behind victory because of that. This game went to overtime. Devils 5-1 in overtime this season. Tyler Toffoli seals the game with his hat-trick goal. He's now up to 20. So if they're not going to make a push for the playoffs, that's a great piece that somebody else could be picking up. That's a big chip they're going to have come trade deadline if they're not in a position to make the playoffs. And this game saw, in this game we saw the not so good Vitek in net. Although it's hard to put it all on him because there were quite a few wide open guys in the slot with wide open shots. something that is just ridiculous to me that even happens in the NHL. I'm not even going to touch on the McLeod foot thing. We talked about it. I'm not going to touch on the Jack thing. We talked about it. A lot should be back for one, if not both, of these next two games before the break. At Carolina Thursday night, at Tampa Saturday night. Tom, do you want to fly me down?
No, I'll buy your ticket though.
Okay.
Where Saturday night?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta shovel my driveway.
Oh, there's
supposed to snow.
I think there's a gala after it though.
Oh, well, then that changes everything. As long as they serve ice cream, we're good.
No. There
Should
were
be
talks. There were talks about players being called up. And when asked about it, Lindy Ruff has said, yes, that's possible, but those players, quote, have not been determined yet. Don't these teams have a list of players that they would call up if they need to call players up? How do you not have a list ready to go?
But they like to check in with the minor league team and say, hey, this guy is really playing well right now. He's on a hot streak. And maybe it's someone that's lower on your list.
Don't you have those conversations ongoing throughout the year, regardless of whether you're going to be calling up a player or not?
Yes. He's an asshole. How many times do I have to tell you that? Like, he's the perfect guy for the Devils. I love that he's such an asshole because he is an asshole.
He is an asshole.
I've been telling you that for years.
Yeah, well, I want him to see the other side of the door here, but that's, I'm not alone in that, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And now it's time for Trivia with Bill. Ugh.
Now this is the wrong Bill.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, today's question is, what was the nickname for the Los Angeles Kings line that featured Dave Taylor, Charlie Simmer, and Marcel Dion?
Oh, I know this. I know this. Wait, because these things usually go by the player's last name. What were the last names again?
Taylor, Simmer, and Dion.
STD. That was the line name.
That's great. I'm not sure.
That should have been a line name.
That really was.
That was
back in the 70s for sure.
In fact, it wasn't, but excellent. That was
I think it was more of a play on like the Kings. It was probably like the Royal Crown line or something like that.
Oh,
did they call it the Burger King
incorrect.
Line? Was it the Burger King line?
Barely incorrect. It was not the Burger King line.
BK, have it your way. You
drool.
Everybody just turned off the fucking podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, that was it. That's why they turned it off.
That's what it is.
The way I turned off that fucking commercial every time it's on anything. Fuckers.
Marcel Dion, Travis Scott. Who are the other two guys? I don't even.
Michael Scott, Steve. Michael Scott.
Michael Scott.
Dave Taylor, Charlie Simmer, and Marcel Dion. I love STD line. I would have just went with that. I wish I could make that. This is not factual.
Was it the frankincense and myrrh line? Because they were the Kings?
No, it was not.
Were they the Royal Flush?
No. You're
which one is
you're getting
okay?
colder.
So something Crown. So Crown is definitely the way to go.
Were they the Asian persuasion?
Were they persuading Asians to come over?
I don't think any of them were Asian. No.
Were they? Were they called the? I think she's crowning line.
No, gross. No.
Okay.
The King's Crown line.
No.
No. No.
That's how fucking stupid people from the fucking South Jersey and Pennsylvania say crayon, right?
Crayon.
They call it a crown.
Crayon.
Stop it.
No,
Stop it.
Crayola crowns.
Yeah.
Crayola
No,
crowns.
it's crayons.
It's horrible.
No, the crayons.
you have a brain. You are not
People
from
are-
South Jersey or
that's not-
Pennsylvania.
Those
That
people
might
are-
have been the
are
nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Barely.
I should have said in comparison to people from South Jersey. And
But
Honestly,
that's not. But that's
they're-
not
Eastern
what you
Pennsylvania.
said.
Those people are more Southern than Randy. I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
Okay, I
Or
don't. We don't. I
something
don't,
wrong
know
with people.
I don't even know who.
You
Randy
guys,
is.
you guys know what
we
a
gotta get
towel
Randy
is?
back.
Towel.
Do you know what a towel is?
Towel.
No, I know what a towel is.
Yeah.
Is it the towel crown line?
What are you talking about?
No.
I don't. Can we get multiple choice?
Okay, multiple choice. A, the Legion of Doom.
No,
B.
that was fuck the Flyers.
B, the Triple Crown line.
C.
C, the West Coast Express. Or D, the Punch line.
I should have said double down at some point. Is it the double down line?
The Dick Punch line sounds like it would have been the right one.
Dick Punch. No, I like that one too.
The Dick Punch? Oh my God.
Triple Crown line?
It's probably a Triple Crown line.
Triple Crown line. That's the one.
That's awesome.
That was it. Job was.
Guys, we only got like 9 more questions in this trivia.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I asked Billy what do we do after this?
Oh shit.
He's gonna wait until the Tuesday afternoon before we record to let me know what he wants to do.
Yeah, I'll figure that out. But, yeah.
It's called show prep. All right, so now we're just going to go on to the next segment, which I don't know how I don't know the transition at this point because
Money
we have
talks,
a song.
baby.
We have a
it's
song,
Money Talks.
but I don't know if I say anything leading into the song.
Maybe you should. Maybe you leave it to the professional. You leave it to the probably the best podcast host.
Yeah.
You leave it to me. I'll handle.
By the way,
heavy
asshole,
lifting
if
here.
you're going to show us
Okay.
your stupid coffee mug, you have to hold it higher so the camera can actually see it, you dummy. Nobody
there's
can
nothing
see
in
it.
Look.
Well,
look,
now we
it's
can see the inside of the cup,
There you go.
which has no words at all. That's perfect.
It's
Why don't we have tryouts? Why don't we have tryouts for introducing Nick? Why is it just
Oh,
every
okay.
time?
Okay.
No.
Woo!
What do you mean tryouts?
Okay.
I let Steve try to host one night. That was a fucking disaster.
I am not throwing my hat in the ring for this, so it's between you three. If Nick wants to introduce himself, by all means, that's a little arrogant, but you can certainly go for it. So please, we're going to pull a name out of a hat here.
All right, Fatty, go ahead.
It's time for Money Talks.
That's great.
Oof, it's gonna be hard to top that one. Nick, do you want to give it a try?
No, Bill wins.
Good. Okay.
That's it.
I
No,
win.
no,
Bill
we've got to
wins.
let
Bill
Tom.
wins.
You know, Tom's gonna throw a fucking conniption if we don't let him.
Fucking
go.
Bill wins.
All right, Tom, your turn.
Go, Tom.
All right, Nick, Money Talks.
Oh,
That's
there-
simple,
that was
boys.
good. Okay,
It's
so
that
now,
simple.
So
It's
now,
that simple.
I
I
have
feel
to
like
admit-
the diplomatic way to do it would be let's have a vote on who wins.
Okay.
So
Hey,
if
well,
you want,
We get the vote.
if you want Bill's introduction, raise your hand. If you want Tom's introduction, raise your hand. Dumb fuck. You
God
voted.
damn it.
You didn't vote for yourself.
Bill, you son of a bitch.
Well, I decide all tiebreakers on this podcast,
Yeah.
so it's
All
mine.
right.
I was gonna say just by the stupidity of one of the contestants, Tom wins.
Oh,
Aye.
shit.
So go ahead,
Congratulations,
Tom,
Tom.
and introduce the segment for real now.
All right, Nick, Money Talks.
Money, it's a gas. Grab that cash with both hands and make a stash. New puck, give a fuck, and daydream. Think I'll buy me a hockey team.
All right, fellas. This week on Money Talks, we're going to talk a little bit about likely the prized UFA. It's a little early for this, but probably likely the prized UFA, player this year. That, from what it looks like, who's not extended, So basically, anybody that's already off the board for next year, we're taking those players out. Let's like your Nylanders and everybody else just got extensions. And we're looking at Mr. Sam Reinhart from the Florida Panthers. He's
Jake Gensel? Okay.
Not Jake Gensel, although Gensel is a year older than Sam Reinhart.
Anyway, Gensel making 6.5 or is he at 5?
Holy shit.
Sam is currently making 6.5 this year.
Oh, I was talking about Gensel.
6 mil. Straight up 6 mil is Gensel. They're likely the two guys are going to be the 1 and 2 if you look at forwards and who's going to make bank this year. Both forwards. I should say.
But Reinhardt is definitely going to be the prize based on his season this year. I would agree.
Yep. He's playing top line minutes with Barkov, so he's got an elite 2-way center. But Reinhardt's been playing well above his pay grade. He's got 58 points in 46 games. 46 games played, and 34 goals in that 58 points.
34 fucking goals.
34 and 46. He's on a torrid pace. He had another goal tonight, and an assist. He's gonna have a good shot at 50. He's fucking ripping it up this year.
He's already at his career high. That guy, that's a guy motivated for a contract right there. Which scares me.
Not his career high. He's on pace for goals. Yes.
No, he's already got his. Yeah, he's goal wise. He's already got his career high.
Yeah. I think we have points. Points. Yeah, goals. Yes, goals. Yes. His career high is 82 points in 78 games 2 years back. He had 67 and 82 last year. A little bit of a step back, I guess. But nevertheless, the Panthers are gonna have a hard time re-signing him. They could go the route and do it. Because they already have Alexander Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk making 10 and 9.5 respectively a year. They got Bobrovsky's 10 million a year in goal. Ekblad's making 7.5 mil for 1 more year. So theoretically, they could probably fit him in. They don't have a ton. He's already making 6.5, so you'd have to think about it like, does he make a big jump up, and what's he gonna get from Florida? And it's looking like he's probably gonna make in the 10. And I'd say
I don't know if he makes 10. I don't know if he makes 10.
Oh yeah.
I don't. Well, no.
I think he's pretty close to 9.5, 10 on to stay. He could stay for less, right? Because there's no income tax, right, in Florida, so he could probably take a little bit less there.
Well, no state income tax.
No state income tax. He's right. So if he was to go, but if he decides to test the waters, there could be a little bit more of a market for him. He could make 10, maybe 11 mil. I mean, he's a UFA playing potentially could hit 50 goals this year. He'll be easily the jewel of the crop of everybody in the UFA class. And there's no better time to grab a guy like him right off from basically costing you nothing outside of just a lot of money. What did Timo get this last year, Steven? Did he get 9?
He got 8.5.
8.5. So I think he's gonna make a little more. I think he's probably gonna make the 9.4, 9.5, 9.5, 10 range personally. And I think he's gonna be quite an interesting guy to watch. He's a winger. He's not a center, so he has to have somebody to play with, like a Barkov. But he could go to a place like Chicago and go play with a Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I've never really.
I can definitely see that for sure.
I've never really paid attention to this, so I don't know if it's that alarming. Of his 34 goals this year, 17 are on the power play. So is that a good, do you want half your goals to come from the power play? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's
goal's a goal. And in a contract year, he's looked at as someone who can improve your power play now too.
He improves the power play, but then he doesn't produce as efficiently on 5-on-5.
But listen,
which is what you play majority of the game.
Because of Jonathan Huberdeau and the way he's and what he's doing in Calgary, I'm pretty leery of anybody coming out of Florida and playing. and getting a contract and think they're going to work somewhere else. Because he was in what? He was in Buffalo prior.
I mean, he was still putting up, mid-20s, low 20s in Buffalo.
Yeah, but and he all of a sudden he breaks out as a 50-goal scorer.
From Buffalo, his last season at Buffalo 25, he's only gone he went up to 33, 31 last year, but he, took a little dip, but now up to 34. I mean, it's a steady progression. It's not.
Yeah, I hear you, but I just think it's a guy in a contract here who is this is his money contract.
Wow.
This is his contract, and he's gonna get. And I think it's 9.5 personally, but I think that's all this is. And once he gets
I'm with Nick. I think if he hits,
I don't know how
if he
motivated
hits free agency with the extra money in the cap on the cap this year, I say he gets in the 10-10-5 range.
But who's going to afford that?
The cap's going up.
Arizona?
Yeah, $5 million is going up.
Yeah.
He's not going to
That's
sign
half
in
the
Arizona.
contract right there.
Yeah.
He's not going to sign in Arizona.
So
he'd be foolish to sign in Arizona.
What's interesting is this. Right now, his shot percentage is the highest it's ever been by almost double. He's shooting at 26.8% shot range. The highest he ever had was 19.2 in his last year in Buffalo. But normally it's an average of 13.6. He's doubled right now his normal shot percentage. He has got 17 goals on the power play, like you said. And the most he ever had previously, full season, 16. Already topped the most power play goals. Of those, 9 are game-winning goals, most he's ever had. Definitely career year stats. Like, he is exactly the kind of guy peaking at the right time. He's 28, and he's doing all the things that he's going to do to go and get this massive deal before he ends his career.
Put this in the back of your minds for free agency. Nashville.
I was looking at them, but then I looked at the team right above him, and who can help? He can help out the most. Buffalo. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, but he can help out Buffalo the most.
Man, that would be something, wouldn't it? But yeah, San Jose, Chicago, those teams, Anaheim. I mean, teams that have need a lot of help and will probably have a lot of money. Those are going to be teams that are going to be interesting to watch. But I was going to say was, at the end of this is with that kind of stuff that you kind of seen or we've talked through here is he's obviously having a career year. Numbers are inflated because he's just having such a good year. Everything's going in, everything's working well for him. Would you give this guy 9.5 plus a year?
I hate paying players coming off of a career year, especially in free agency. I hate re-signing them, even if they're my own players coming off of a career year. But I especially hate signing somebody else's player in free agency.
Yeah, look at the Rangers, Nick. They did it for so long, and they failed miserably with every single one of those players except Panarin.
My philosophy is don't get me that guy. Get me next year's that guy. Get me the guy who's going to do that next year. Don't get me the guy that did that last year.
Okay. Now, one last thing to note. The Panthers have no first round picks for the next 2 years.
Oh, man.
No second round pick this year.
Who are they? The Islanders?
Wow.
Yeah, right. Hey, Islanders have actually best player position list, right?
It was a joke, Nick. Relax.
I know. Anyway, so they're gonna get, if they don't re-sign him, it's gonna be kind of rough. They have a hard time replacing his production, obviously. It'd be interesting to see.
They're the second best team in the Atlantic. They're the third best team in the Eastern Conference. Could you imagine them trading him away, though?
They wouldn't do that.
I don't see it happening because he's having such a good year, and last year they were in the finals, right? So I mean,
if anything, they're treating him as their deadline move, the guy that they get for the rest of this year. Yeah. That's what they're going to treat him as.
Crazy.
So
that's
it's
a good one.
To watch.
That's a good one.
And it'd be fun because he's definitely the unicorn. I feel like with his potential to hit 50 goals,
Yeah.
his just absolute career stats, and being at the top of the list easily when it comes to where everybody's going to be looking to add a scorer in the offseason.
I'm really looking forward to Money Talks in the offseason.
That's a good one.
That's
That
going to
was a
be
very,
a
very good
fascinating
conversation.
segment. All right, let's go to this date in Steve's stomach.
Oh, that feels better.
Brought to you by Coca-Cola
this
Zero
thing.
Sugar.
Round here, we're saving calories. Round here, we all look so lean. Round here, we enjoy Coke Zero, but sacrifice flavor, no. Round here, Coke Zero's the way to go.
It's huge. I carried this around for a whole year.
That's what she said. Please, we're going to go to the year of our Lord 2022. Please go to, and I'm not joking, April 1st, 2022. Just coincidence.
April 1st, 2022 was a Friday.
Ooh, Bagel Friday, baby. Come on.
No. This was
Son of a
after the pandemic. It moved to Bagel Wednesdays.
Son of a bitch.
Granola bar and a can of Coke Zero for breakfast. A plain slice and a grandma slice with a 20-ounce Coca-Cola Zero for lunch. Dinner was 3 chocolate chip pancakes with a side order of French fries and a can of Coke Zero.
Wait, you had pancakes and French fries?
Yeah. How do you do it?
All right.
Interesting
Not
fact.
French fries.
Also got
Sweet and
the
salt.
dishwasher installed. We got a brand new dishwasher installed. Tom, why did you pick Friday, April 1st in the year
Waka waka.
2022?
That was the day a federal judge dismissed a lawsuit that claimed Pop-Tarts aren't strawberry enough. This is an article I can get on board with, by the way.
I thought you were going to say you were the defendant.
Yeah.
Or no, not the defendant. You would have
A
been
federal judge in New York
Yeah.
has dismissed a lawsuit alleging Kellogg's misrepresented the amount of fruit in its strawberry Pop-Tart, saying that the plaintiff failed to provide enough evidence to prove that the Pop-Tart box is misleading. The lawsuit was originally filed in September 2020 by Kelvin Brown, who said the box of strawberry Pop-Tarts is misleading because the label gives consumers the impression the fruit filling only contains strawberries as its fruit ingredient.
He should have
The
just
filling
said
in the-
he should have just said it's September, the year of the pandemic. I've got nothing else to do in my life. I'm looking this closely at the Pop-Tart box.
Maybe the filling on in the Pop-Tart at the heart of the case also includes pears and apples. I did not know that. In his ruling Thursday, U.S. District Judge Andrew Carter said that the photo of the strawberry on the box of Pop-Tarts must be viewed in context. No reasonable consumer would see the entire product label, reading the word frosted strawberry Pop-Tarts next to a picture of a toaster pastry coated in frosting and reasonably expect that fresh strawberries could be the sole ingredient in the product. The number of lawsuits against food and beverage companies has spiked in recent years, going up more than 1,000% since 2008. The rise in large part due to one person, New York attorney Spencer Sheehan, who has filed more than 400 lawsuits targeting companies that say they are misleading consumers with advertising. If you fucking sue 400 companies as a lawyer, you should be disbarred. Sheehan represented Brown in the case against Pop-Tarts as well. I guess I've always been the type who would become annoyed and never liked it when companies cheated people for small amounts. It would be very difficult to recoup.
She said from
told
her
NPR.
She said from her house out on, in the Hamptons.
Right. That's right. Well, that's what happened April 1st of 2022.
Time's a creep. Time is a weirdo. Where does he come up with the shit? It's so disgusting.
I feel bad for the judge. The judge has actually got to sit there and listen to lawyers in their lawyerese language talk about Pop-Tarts.
He's just there with a fucking toaster and a box of Pop-Tarts, just putting them in, taking them out.
Yeah, just
eating them.
How much strawberry does this one have?
But you got
How much strawberry does this one have?
But look at it this way: like a company could be like, "Oh, we got a triple stuff Oreo," and if they don't have triple stuff in it, and it's not the right amount of stuff, and you write a letter and they don't do nothing, then what do you do? Then you got to turn to a lawyer and say, what do I, how do I get my triple stuff justice?"
Listen, Lauren is notorious for calling up these food companies when they fuck up. Like if we get like an open box of frozen waffles from Eggo, she'll call Eggo customer service. If we get like seltzer cans that are dented inside the 12 pack, she will call them and gets coupons. She gets, the taco shells. They're sometimes they're crumbled in the box because they're taco shells. They send her fucking free coupons for shit. So she doesn't have to go to a lawyer. She just goes and gets free shit.
Did she ever contact Cool Dude Inc. because of the sunglasses? Or was just that was just her friend Francis?
She wrote a handwritten letter and they sent her back a lot of sunglasses.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was excellent.
So I hope
but I don't think she's ever.
Reference. God, I hope one of the listeners gets that reference.
I got it.
I know you would. I just hope one of the listeners does, because I know the other two schmucks didn't.
No, summer school, nothing.
No.
It's like you said, Jill. We're psychopaths.
Chainsaw. Nick, how was St. Joe's hockey? Or Bill, how's St. Joe's hockey doing? Nick, you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know shit.
Today they started their 2024 GMC schedule. They finally played a conference game, and they beat the ever-living piss out of East Brunswick, 13-0. 13-0, and they called it after 2 periods.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So hockey in GMC in Middlesex County, it's like St. Joe's and Monroe, right?
And Woodbridge.
And Woodbridge, because they got one really good player, no?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's it. Those are the 3 teams that will be in contention.
So everything else is just a scrimmage.
Old Bridge is up there too.
Okay.
Yeah. That's like they're the 4 that are going to go to like the conference tournament. That's you got 4 teams.
South Brunswick is a cakewalk.
Oh, South Brunswick, yeah, got destroyed by Edison, who got destroyed by East Brunswick, who just got destroyed by.
Oh God,
yeah. So there's some bad teams.
Can't wait. Can't wait to hear the scores of those games.
But the Edison one is puzzling because it's made up of 2 schools.
3.
JP Stevens and Metuchen?
Yeah.
JP Metuchen and Edison. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And so South Brunswick is South Brunswick and North Brunswick.
And
Woodbridge is 3 schools.
Woodbridge is Woodbridge, JFK, and Colonia.
Yep. And East Brunswick is East Brunswick, Spotswood, and South River.
Yeah.
So they're all conglomerates. Yeah.
Do they take on the colors of one of the schools? Like in Edison, do they take Edison High School or JP Stevens? What color are their jerseys? I'm curious.
They're red and green.
They are.
That would be both.
They got new jerseys now.
And they just said, fuck Metuchen.
This season, last season, I don't know. They got some pretty homely jerseys, actually. They got a lot of colors on them. Maybe they were trying to pull all the school colors into
Does
probably.
Does the boy get a little bit more ice time in a game like that?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he was in the regular rotation today.
And
He
have
was on
we
for a couple goals.
have we come close to potting our first goal?
They were trying to. A lot of kids got their first goals tonight. Obviously, they were. Some of the older kids were, and the veteran kids and the big scores were trying to set up some of the other guys. And they did. One of them tried to set up Casey, but the pass didn't get through. Casey was in a perfect spot for it, but the pass across the street got deflected across the. Say across the street.
They played on the street.
The slot.
I thought they were ice
pass
hockey.
across the slot. Game
off.
Game
off.
Yeah, the pass across the slot never got through to him.
Okay.
But he was on for a couple.
But there is a good chance, fingers crossed, knock on wood, do all the good stuff, that in one of these games, hopefully he might put the biscuit in the basket, as they say.
Yeah.
Is there one team in particular that he's itching to score against? Is it Old Bridge?
Edison.
Definitely Edison.
Definitely Edison.
He's played with a lot of those guys. He's got buddies on those teams. So yeah.
Nice.
1-0 in the conference. Good start.
We'll be praying, crossing everything we got. All right, that's gonna do it for us. This was a wonderful tight 45 as always. And don't forget to go on to the Twix at friends_rivals. Give us a follow. We put awesome things on there.
Anybody retweet our goalie challenge, please.
Did anybody respond to that? No one responded for me either. So it's an exercise in futility. Go on Apple Podcast, put a review. I haven't looked on there in so long.
Nobody reviewed.
It's a real
I know that. It's that's the best. That's the best. Nope. Still no. Okay. All right. While you're there, turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of the Friends of Rivals podcast. Billy, say something, Woody.
So 2 other things that Judge Pop-Tart said. One of them is that it's perfectly reasonable to eat them right out of the package, not toasted. He confirmed that.
I object, Your Honor. I object, Your Honor.
Second thing he also said is that Lindy Ruff is in fact an asshole.
Even the judge
get on board. I think we can all get on board with that.
The only thing I'm upset about is nobody asked the question. After he ate the Pop-Tart, did he come?